Imagine for a moment a tiny island in the middle of the Mediterranean. Now imagine that island is home to colossal stone temples built thousands of years ago, before the pyramids of Giza and with more complexity than Stonehenge. These aren't just piles of rocks. These are monuments, built by a people we know almost nothing about. How did they move multi-ton stones without the wheel or any modern machinery? This isn't a story from a sci-fi movie. It's a real, profound mystery that challenges everything we thought we knew about human ingenuity. And it all happened right here on ancient Malta. For centuries, we've been taught that advanced engineering and monumental architecture are relatively recent human inventions. We look to the Egyptians and the Romans and think that's where it all began. But Malta tells a different story. It reveals a forgotten civilization that existed thousands of years before the Great Pyramids were even a thought. Their temples, scattered across this small island, are a testament to their incredible skill. Look at the sheer scale of them, the precise curves, the intricate stonework, the sheer audacity of it all. It's hard to believe these were built by a society with no metal tools, no wheel, no blueprint. As we journey through this video, we'll explore some of the most mind-boggling engineering feats ever attempted. We'll look at the revolutionary trilithon gate systems, the impossible corbelled roofs, and the baffling celestial alignments that prove these people were masters of astronomy. But the biggest question remains: who were they? Where did they come from? And why did they dedicate so much of their lives to building these magnificent structures? And perhaps most importantly, why did they disappear without a trace? Join us as we step back in time to an era shrouded in enigma. We'll walk among these ancient giants, explore their secrets, and confront the unanswered questions that still echo through time. This is the story of Malta's megalithic builders, a civilization that reached for the heavens and then simply vanished. Walking into these temples, the first thing that hits you isn't just their size, it's the sheer sophistication. You might expect crude stone huts, but what you find is an architectural vocabulary that's revolutionary for its time. Let's start with the most distinctive feature, the trilithon gates. A trilithon is a structure consisting of two large vertical stones supporting a third stone horizontally across the top. Think Stonehenge, but here they're integrated into the temple's very design. They're not just entrances, they are a statement of incredible engineering precision. The builders fitted these multi-ton slabs together with such accuracy that you can barely fit a piece of paper between the joints. But the trilithon is just the beginning. Look up. How did they span these massive internal spaces without a single piece of wood or metal? The answer lies in a technique called corbelling. It's a method where each layer of stone projects slightly inward from the one below it, eventually meeting at the top to form a vaulted roof. This technique predates the Romans' famous arches and vaults by thousands of years. We're talking about a basic, yet brilliant, concept that allowed them to create enclosed spaces of immense scale and stability. It's a breathtaking testament to their spatial awareness and their understanding of weight distribution. Now, for the biggest enigma of all, how did they get the stone? The raw material for these structures, a type of soft limestone, was quarried from miles away. We can still see the ancient quarries, but what happens next is a complete mystery. Some of these blocks weigh over 20 tons. That's more than a city bus. They had no beasts of burden, no metal tools, no pulleys, and no wheels as we know them. Archaeologists have found small spherical stones near the sites, leading to the theory that these spheres were used as rollers to move the massive blocks. But imagine trying to maneuver a 20-ton stone using nothing but brute force and stone balls. It's a feat that defies our modern understanding of simple mechanics. It hints at a lost, forgotten knowledge, or a level of collective effort we can barely comprehend. The temples aren't just architecturally brilliant, they're also profoundly spiritual and scientifically aligned. Take the Niger Temple. It's a stunning example of megalithic astronomy. The temple's main axis is perfectly aligned with the rising sun on the equinoxes. On these specific days, the sun's rays perfectly illuminate a particular altar stone deep within the sanctuary. And on the solstices, the sun casts a shadow that outlines the temple's doorway. This isn't a coincidence. It shows that these builders were not only skilled engineers, but also keen observers of the cosmos. They integrated their scientific knowledge into their sacred spaces, making these temples a living calendar, a celestial clock. But perhaps the most astounding secret lies beneath the surface, in the labyrinthine underground temple known as the hypogeum. This isn't just a tomb or a temple, it's an acoustic marvel. In one of its chambers, the oracle room, a low voice or a deep hum can create a resonance that vibrates through the entire structure. The sound is amplified and seems to emanate from the very walls themselves. Scientists have studied this phenomenon and found that the chamber is specifically tuned to a frequency of 110 Hz, a frequency known to calm the human brain and enhance creativity. Was this an accident? Or did the builders intentionally engineer this space to create an altered state of consciousness for religious rituals? It's a mind-boggling thought that these ancient people possessed such a deep, intuitive understanding of acoustics and human psychology. Beyond the grand engineering, these temples are a canvas for incredible artistic expression. Look closely at the walls and you'll find intricate spiral carvings, some in low relief, some in high relief, that seem to dance in the light. These spirals are a recurring motif, also seen on their pottery and figurines. What did they mean? Perhaps a symbol of life, death, and rebirth, or a representation of the cosmos. We don't know for sure, but their presence suggests a rich, symbolic inner world. We also find intricate carvings of animals and abstract patterns, each one a clue to their beliefs and culture. So what does this all tell us? The architectural marvels of Malta are more than just ancient ruins. They are a library written in stone, a testament to a civilization that understood geometry, physics, and astronomy in a way we are still trying to comprehend. A people who built with a purpose so profound that it drove them to overcome unimaginable challenges. But the very questions we've explored today, about the missing tools, the lost knowledge, the celestial alignments, and the acoustic secrets, are the same questions that still haunt archaeologists. These temples stand as a permanent challenge to our assumptions about the past, a silent, powerful monument to the ingenuity of a people who remain a profound and beautiful mystery. So we have these incredible structures. We have evidence of advanced astronomical knowledge, sophisticated engineering, and a profound artistic sense. But who were the people behind it all? For years, popular imagination has run wild. Theories have surfaced about ancient astronauts, about a lost continent of Atlantis, about giant beings from another dimension. These stories are certainly compelling, but they often fail to acknowledge the simplest and most powerful truth. These were human beings, our ancestors. And their achievements are a testament to the boundless potential of the human spirit, not a result of some supernatural intervention. Let's be clear. There is no archaeological evidence to support any of these myths. We have no alien artifacts, no Atlantean maps, no giant skeletons. What we do have is a rich collection of artifacts that tell a very different story, a story of a sophisticated, peaceful, and deeply spiritual culture. They were not warriors. We found no weapons, no fortifications, and no signs of warfare in their villages. Instead, we find art. We find beautiful pottery, intricately decorated with spirals and geometric patterns. We find statuettes of corpulent figures, believed to represent goddesses of fertility, life, and abundance. This suggests a society centered on the land, on community, and on a reverence for the sacred cycles of life. These temple builders were likely an agricultural society, living off the bountiful land of Malta. But their identity wasn't defined by their farms. It was defined by their rituals. The temples were not just places of worship, they were the heart of their community. They were places for communal gatherings, for ceremonies, for rites of passage. The immense effort required to build these structures points to a society with an extraordinary level of social cohesion. Everyone, from the young to the old, must have had a role to play, in quarrying, in transport, in carving, in the sacred rituals themselves. The shared goal of building these magnificent temples created a powerful bond, a collective identity that transcended individual families or tribes. It was a society that built monuments not to a king or a conqueror, but to their collective faith. But for all the clues they left behind, we still have more questions than answers. Where did this culture come from? We don't know for sure. There's no clear evidence of a large-scale migration to the island. Some archaeologists believe they may have evolved from an earlier local culture, while others suggest a small group of people arrived from Sicily or elsewhere and flourished in Malta's isolated environment. But the sudden emergence of this complex, highly specialized culture is a puzzle in itself. It's a testament to how quickly human civilization can develop when given the right conditions. And this leads us to the most profound mystery of all. What happened to them? After flourishing for over 1,000 years, the temple builders of Malta simply vanished. They didn't just abandon their temples, their entire culture disappeared. Their pottery styles, their statuettes, their unique architectural practices, they all came to an abrupt end around 2500 BC. There are no signs of a violent invasion, no evidence of a massacre or a war. So what happened? The leading theory is environmental collapse. Over centuries of farming, the island's thin topsoil was likely eroded away. Deforestation, possibly to fuel the fires for their ceremonies, would have accelerated the process. This may have led to famine, a breakdown of their social structure, and eventually their complete disappearance. But this is just a theory. Could there have been a cataclysmic event, a devastating plague? Or did they simply sail away to find a new home, leaving their monumental legacy behind? The fact that a society so advanced and so committed to its beliefs could simply cease to exist is a humbling thought. It challenges our modern assumption that progress is inevitable and that great civilizations are permanent. The temple builders of Malta remind us that everything is transient. Their story is a powerful warning about the fragility of civilization and the delicate balance between humanity and the environment. So, when we stand in the shadows of these giants, we aren't just looking at ancient stones. We're looking at the silent testimony of a people who were, in many ways, just like us. They built to express their faith. They built for their community. They built for the future. And though their names are lost to time, their structures endure, whispering their secrets across the millennia. They challenge us to look at the past, not just as a set of facts, but as a living, breathing mystery that we are all a part of. So far, we've explored the monumental structures and the genius of their builders. But for every question we answer, a new, more profound one emerges. As we peel back the layers of this incredible civilization, we find ourselves staring into a void of lingering mysteries. They are the final puzzles left by a people who, after 1,000 years of monumental effort, simply vanished. These aren't just minor details. They are the fundamental questions that continue to challenge archaeologists and historians today. Let's start with one of the most baffling phenomena on the island, the so-called cart ruts. Imagine walking across the Maltese countryside, far from any ancient temple, and finding deep, parallel grooves carved into the solid limestone bedrock. They crisscross the island, disappearing into cliffs and re-emerging on the seabed. Some are shallow, others are over a foot deep. They travel in pairs, perfectly aligned as if carved by a vehicle. But what vehicle? The temple builders had no wheeled carts. And even if they did, why would a roadway be carved into solid rock? This is not erosion. This is intentional carving on a massive scale. One theory suggests they were part of a massive transport system, perhaps used to haul the enormous stones for the temples. But the ruts don't always lead to the temples. In fact, many of them end abruptly at the edge of a cliff or a field. Another idea is that they were part of an ancient irrigation system, designed to channel water across the island's arid landscape. But their design doesn't make sense for that purpose. They don't seem to be connected in any logical way. The biggest puzzle is their sheer number and distribution. They are everywhere. They are a permanent scar on the landscape, a monument to an unknown purpose. Were they built by the temple builders? Or by a completely different, even earlier civilization? We simply don't know. They are a powerful, silent testimony to a lost purpose, a riddle carved into the very stone of Malta itself. And this brings us to a more fundamental question. What was the motivation? What drove a society to dedicate so much of its time and resources across generations to build these colossal structures? This wasn't a one-time project. It was a centuries-long devotion. Think about it. Without metal tools, every single stone was an immense effort. Every wall, every roof, every carving was the result of a collective, almost unimaginable sacrifice of labor. Were they driven by religious fervor? The presence of fertility figurines and intricate carvings suggests a deep spiritual life, but we have no sacred texts, no records of their beliefs. What gods did they worship? What rituals did they perform? We can only guess based on the evidence they left behind. Perhaps it was a matter of social cohesion. In a world without kings or conquerors, maybe these temples were the glue that held their society together. The act of building itself, the shared struggle and success, may have been more important than the finished product. It was a way to define their identity, to mark their presence on the planet, and to forge a powerful sense of community that transcended individual lives. It was their legacy, their way of communicating with the future, and their way of reaching for the heavens. But what was the ultimate message? What were they trying to tell us? And finally, we are left with the most haunting question of all, the end. After over 1,000 years of flourishing, a magnificent culture that accomplished more than many of its contemporaries simply disappeared. Just gone. No epic battles, no monuments to a victorious army, nothing. The leading theory, as we discussed, is environmental collapse. After centuries of farming and possibly deforestation, the island's thin topsoil could have eroded, leading to famine. But could a civilization so ingenious and resilient truly be wiped out by a single factor? Were there other forces at play? A devastating plague? A new, hostile people arriving by sea? Or did they, as some speculate, simply choose to leave, sailing away to a new land? The silence of the temples is deafening. They stand as a permanent challenge to our assumptions about progress and permanence. The temple builders of Malta remind us that even the greatest civilizations are fragile, and that sometimes a story ends not with a bang, but with a whisper. Their structures endure, but the people who built them remain a powerful, unsolved mystery. We've journeyed back in time, stood in the shadows of giants, and grappled with the profound mysteries of the temple builders. We've seen their incredible skill, their deep spiritual connection, and the humbling silence of their disappearance. But Malta is not an isolated story. The more we learn about this tiny island, the more we realize its story is part of a much larger global tapestry of unsolved mysteries. Think about it. On Easter Island, we have the moai, massive, mysterious statues carved and moved across an island with no trees. In the English countryside, we have Stonehenge, a celestial clock of enormous stones whose purpose still sparks debate. On the plains of Peru, the Nazca lines form immense geoglyphic portraits that can only be seen from the sky. And far away, in the heart of Egypt, the Great Pyramids stand as a testament to engineering that baffles us to this day. What do all these places have in common? They are monuments of monumental effort, created by cultures we know so little about, using technologies we can't fully explain. They are all expressions of a universal human drive, a need to build, to create, to leave a mark that will outlast them. Whether it was for religion, for science, for community, or for a legacy, these ancient people were driven by something so profound that it compelled them to accomplish what seemed impossible. Malta's megaliths are not just a local phenomenon. They are a crucial piece of this worldwide puzzle, a puzzle that tells the story of our shared human past. So why do these mysteries fascinate us? It's not just about finding answers, it's about the questions themselves. These unsolved riddles challenge our modern perspective, our reliance on technology, and our assumption that we know it all. They remind us that the past is a foreign country, full of brilliant minds and lost knowledge. They force us to be humble and to be curious. So we encourage you, if you ever have the chance, step onto the island of Malta. Experience the awe for yourself. Walk the paths carved by these unknown builders. Feel the weight of the mystery. See the astronomical alignments with your own eyes. It's a journey that will not only show you some of the world's most incredible ancient sites, but will also give you a new appreciation for the brilliance of our ancestors. It's a call to adventure, an invitation to witness history firsthand and to become part of the ongoing conversation.